You wake up tired, not because your body is weak, but because something far more powerful inside you is asleep. Tony Robbins says most people don't fail because they lack talent, money, or time. They fail because they're ignoring the one force that decides everything, the power of their own state. Right now as you're listening, your posture, your breathing, the words you repeat in your head are silently shaping your future. Not tomorrow, not next year. Right now. Here's the brutal truth. Two people can face the same problem. One breaks. The other rises and dominates. The difference isn't intelligence, it isn't luck. It's control. Control over emotions, control over focus, control over meaning. Tony Robbins calls this the invisible lever that runs your life. And most people never touch it. You've been taught to wait for motivation, wait for confidence, wait for the right moment. But winners don't wait. They command their inner world first, and the outer world follows. There's a power inside you that can turn fear into fuel, pressure into performance, and pain into purpose. The tragedy? You use only a fraction of it. This isn't hype. This is the line between average and unstoppable. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here is a deeply cinematic, emotionally charged, long-form script crafted exactly for your motivational YouTube style. Intense pacing, rising stakes, no hashtags, no fluff, and written to hold attention minute by minute. You can use it for long videos, voiceover narration, or split into multiple parts. Tony Robbins. The power you're ignoring. Most people wake up every morning already defeated, not because life beat them, but because they gave up before the day even started. They scroll their phone, replay yesterday's failures, remember what went wrong, who disappointed them, who ignored them. And without realizing it, they hand over their power. Tony Robbins says the greatest tragedy isn't lack of talent, money, or opportunity. It's living your entire life without ever touching the real power you already have. A power so close, so constant, that you've stopped seeing it. A power you ignore every single day. You think power comes from motivation, from confidence, from having the perfect plan. But Tony Robbins exposes something uncomfortable. Motivation fades, confidence collapses, and plans fail. But power doesn't disappear. It's always there. The question is whether you're using it or surrendering it right now. Pause and ask yourself honestly, who controls how you feel? Your boss? Your past? Your bank account? Other people's opinions? Because the moment someone else controls your emotional state, they control your life. Tony Robbins calls this emotional outsourcing, and it's the silent killer of potential. You don't lack discipline. You don't lack intelligence. You lack command over your inner world. Tony Robbins didn't start as a legend. He started broke, overweight, insecure, and angry at life. What changed wasn't luck. It wasn't a miracle. It was the moment he realized something terrifying and liberating at the same time. Nothing outside of him had power, unless he gave it permission. That realization rewired everything. Most people believe their circumstances shape their emotions. Tony Robbins flips the script. He teaches that your emotions shape your actions, and your actions shape your destiny. If you can't control your emotional state, you can't control your future. That's the power you're ignoring. Think about it. Two people lose their job. One falls into depression, blames the economy, gives up. The other feels fear too, but uses it as fuel, reinvents themselves, and builds something bigger. Same event. Different outcome. Why? Because power was claimed by one and surrendered by the other. Tony Robbins says life is not happening to you, it's responding to you. But here's where most people get uncomfortable. Because if that's true, then blaming becomes impossible. And without blame, excuses die. And without excuses, responsibility shows up, and responsibility is heavy. It means your habits matter, your thoughts matter. What you tolerate matters. You might not control what happened to you, but you absolutely control what it means, and meaning is power. Every day, you tell yourself a story. A story about who you are, what you deserve, what's possible for you. Most people never question that story, even when it's destroying them. Tony Robbins calls this the invisible prison. The prison isn't your job, or your country, or your past. It's the story you keep repeating without realizing you're the one pressing play. I'm not lucky. I'm not confident. I always fail. People like me don't win. Those words aren't harmless. They are commands. And your nervous system listens. Tony Robbins teaches that your brain doesn't follow logic. It follows focus. Whatever you focus on consistently becomes your emotional reality. If you focus on problems, you feel powerless. If you focus on progress, you feel strong. If you focus on fear, you freeze. If you focus on growth, you move. The power you're ignoring is focus. You wake up and focus on what's missing, on what you don't have, on how far you are from your goals. And your body responds with stress, anxiety, and hesitation. Then you wonder why you feel tired before the day even begins. Tony Robbins says peak performers don't have fewer problems. They have a different focus. They train themselves to ask better questions. Not why does this always happen to me, but what can I use from this? Not why am I like this, but what's one step I can take right now? Questions shape focus. Focus shapes emotion. Emotion shapes action. This is not motivational talk. This is neurological reality. Your brain is a prediction machine. It predicts based on patterns you repeat. If you repeat helplessness, your brain predicts failure. If you repeat action, your brain predicts confidence. That's why confidence doesn't come before action. It comes from action. Tony Robbins says most people wait to feel ready. Winners move first and let readiness catch up. Another power you're ignoring is your physiology. Your body is not just carrying your emotions, it's creating them. Slouched posture, shallow breathing, slow movement, and you feel weak. Straight posture, deep breathing, decisive movement, and your chemistry changes instantly. Tony Robbins doesn't motivate people by words alone. He changes their state. Because when your state changes, your identity shifts. And when identity shifts, behavior follows. You don't need a new personality. You need a new pattern. Most people sabotage themselves not because they want to fail, but because change feels unfamiliar. And unfamiliar feels unsafe. So the brain pulls you back to what's known, even if it's painful. Tony Robbins calls this the pull of certainty. You stay in a bad relationship because it's familiar. You stay in a job you hate because it's predictable. You stay small because it's comfortable. But growth lives in uncertainty. And here's the brutal truth Tony Robbins teaches. The quality of your life is the quality of what you tolerate. What disrespect do you tolerate? What excuses do you tolerate? What version of yourself do you tolerate? Because whatever you tolerate, you train people and life to give you more of. Power is not loud. Power is not aggressive. Power is the quiet decision to raise your standards. The moment you say, "This is no longer acceptable," your life begins to change. Tony Robbins says success is not about massive action once. It's about standards. When something becomes non-negotiable, you find a way. When it's optional, you find an excuse. Look at your life honestly. Where have you lowered your standards? Where have you convinced yourself that this is just how it is? That sentence has ended more dreams than failure ever could. The power you're ignoring is choice. Not big choices, small ones. Daily ones. The choice to get up when it's uncomfortable. The choice to speak when silence feels safer. The choice to act when doubt whispers in your ear. Tony Robbins says destiny is shaped in moments of decision, not moments of comfort. And the hardest part, no one will clap for those decisions. No one will see them. But they compound, quietly, relentlessly. One day, people will call it luck, but you'll know the truth. The truth is this: you were never powerless. You were just distracted. Distracted by fear. Distracted by comparison. Distracted by waiting for permission. Tony Robbins teaches that the moment you stop waiting for confidence, for approval, for perfect conditions, is the moment your life accelerates. Power isn't something you find. It's something you claim right now, not tomorrow, not next month, not when things calm down, right now. Because the most dangerous thing isn't failure. It's living your entire life never realizing how powerful you actually were. And if this message made you uncomfortable, good. That's what waking up feels like.